the Voice of Pan-Africanism, bringing you the latest news highlights of the hour. I am Tabitha John. Do stay with us. The top stories first. Ethiopia forms a national coalition for the Great Green Wall Initiative. And actors in the field called for cross-border collaborations to manage biodiversity and mitigate climate change. National Security Advisor of the Prime Minister, Redwan Hussein, discussed with Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya, Musalia Mudavadi, on bilateral issues of mutual concern. They reviewed frameworks of the bilateral cooperation between the two nations. Redwan, through the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary of the Republic of Kenya, also delivered a special message of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to President William Ruto. Redwan was accompanied by Bacha Dabele, Ethiopia's ambassador to Kenya, and Dr. Abraham Korir Singowei, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Foreign Affairs of Kenya. The Ethiopia-Korea Textile Technopark, the first of its kind in the country, has been inaugurated. In his remarks at the inaugural ceremony, CEO of the Industrial Parks Development Corporation, Aklilu Taddese, stated that Ethiopia and the Republic of Korea have a strong relationship cemented by blood and bone, highlighting the role of such projects in taking the historical ties between the two countries to the next level. Ethiopia-Korea Textile Technopark is instrumental in bringing Republic of Korea's best practices to the Ethiopian manufacturing industry sector, calling for more similar projects to expand in Ethiopia. Korean ambassador to Ethiopia, Kang Seok-hee, expressed the significance of the Technopark in strengthening the bilateral ties between Ethiopia and the Republic of Korea. Deputy Head of Mission of the State of Qatar to Ethiopia, Jaber Jamal Alawami, said Qatar attaches great importance to its wide-ranging relations with Ethiopia. The Qatari diplomat reiterated his country's intent during a discussion with Ambassador Misganu Arega, State Minister of Political and Economic Diplomacy at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ethiopia. During the meeting, Misganu recalled that Ethiopia and Qatar have strong political and economic cooperation. He stressed the need to capitalize on the existing potentials of investment and development cooperation between the two countries.
አሶሳ ከተማ ቤንሻንጉል ጉሙዝ አሶሳ መንገዷ ይመስላል።
Welcome back. You're watching ABC World. Moving on to news items selected for detailed analysis. Ethiopia has formed a national coalition for the Great Green Wall Initiative. The formation of the coalition is set to play an essential role in greening the rampant desertification of the Sahel region. Johannes Fentahon has this report.
The Great Green Wall Africa initiative is intended to be 15 kilometers wide and 7,775 kilometers long, making it the largest living structure on the planet once completed. The initiative aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land by 2030, promoting sustainable land management practices, reforestation and the development of agroforestry systems.
Before then, many of our member states were doing their things. You had the green dam in Algeria, you had green revolution everywhere. Countries were working in silos, trying to combat climate change and desertification in silos. But it became very clear that only a Pan-African, broad-based landscape approach could give the kind of impact that we needed.
In cognition of the adverse impacts of climate change, Ethiopia has long been voicing the initiative and now formed a national coalition for its success, making it the 9th African nation to form a coalition.
It was to establish a wall, a green wall actually, of about 15 kilometers on this 8,000 kilometers, which runs through these member countries. And then in that, there was a very ambitious plan, actually, for rehabilitating 100 million hectares of degraded area.
Ethiopia's involvement in the initiative is part of a broader regional and international collaboration to bring about the intended outcome in the greening the Sahel region. The country's involvement in the initiative reflects a dedication to sustainable development, environmental stewardship and resilience building in the face of climate change.
Ethiopia, as a founding member of the Great Green Wall Initiative, has pledged a very ambitious pledge to restore landscape and to conserve existing forest and other natural resource, and also to design and implement rural development interventions which enhance the resilience of communities across the Great Green Wall belt of Ethiopia.
The Great Green Wall Initiative, first proposed by the African Union in 2007, aims to create a mosaic of green and productive landscapes across the Sahel, stretching from Senegal to Djibouti. Ethiopia joined the initiative in 2009 to rehabilitate and reforest over 13 million hectares of land in 52 districts to prevent the spread of the Sahara Desert to southern Africa.
And finally, actors in the field called for cross-border collaborations to manage biodiversity and mitigate climate change. Ministry of Agriculture said Ethiopia is undertaking numerous activities for the restoration of biodiversity despite challenges. Shagao Yamato has more.
Countries in Africa are facing climate change crisis, desertification and land degradation due to lack of proper conservation for biodiversity and ecosystem. Unless this trend is reversed, human life in general will be at risk. Actors in the field thus called for cross-border collaborations to manage biodiversity and climate change mitigation. Exclusively talking to EVC, Agriculture State Minister Iyasu Elias seems to be concerned about the alarming rate of loss of biodiversity in Ethiopia, regardless of its potential, reminding government's commitment for the restoration of biodiversity.
Because of alarming rates of deforestation, degradation, we are losing our ecosystems, we are losing our biodiversity resources. Ethiopia has been actively engaged in combating biodiversity restoration, landscape restoration activities.
CEO of the Horn of Africa Regional Environment and Network, Makuria Arga, said the regional network is conducting activities on ways of rehabilitating the degraded ecosystem in the region.
The whole purpose is, of course, to build capacity and to generate knowledge, and also at the same time to create opportunities to use the available knowledge for policy making, influencing policy, not influencing actually, but showing the way for better rehabilitation and restoration of the degraded ecosystems, environmental resources, biodiversity in the Horn of Africa region as a whole. We do this through the initiation of, jointly with our partners, initiation of region level or bigger landscape level projects, programs, particularly by focusing on transboundary ecosystems.
The International Organization of the Intergovernmental Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Service, IPBES, which was founded in 2012, is assisting policymakers of the Horn of Africa Regional Environment Center to make good decisions for biodiversity conservation.
It's an organization that convenes scientists and knowledge holders to produce the best available science on biodiversity and ecosystem services in order for policymakers, decision makers, and individuals across the world to be able to take good decisions for the protection of biodiversity and the contributions of nature to people.
Representatives from Addis Ababa University, Ministry of Agriculture, East Central and West African countries, NGOs, private and public sectors deliberated on ways of boosting biodiversity conservation in Addis Ababa.
Well, dear viewers, that's all we had for this hour's news edition. I'm Tabitha John. Thank you for watching. Have a good time.